Welcome back to Skill Building 201, Dealing with Difficult People. We're in part 4. Okay. We're talking about skills that you can use with difficult people, and today is shut it down. The first one is to ignore them. That usually often works. It depends on everything, but it can work, and usually that person will wander off and find somebody else to harass. And also you can ask them to stop. They may think they're being cute, and you can let them know they're not really being cute. They annoy you. That might work. The next one is fogging. Fogging is kind of like ignoring, actually, but you just put a little verbal tag on it. The term comes from the old assertiveness training, and it's if you're in a fog bank and you hit it and kick it and scream at it, you're not affecting it one tiny bit. So someone says, you are such a slob, and you say, yeah, I am, and you're just letting it not affect you at all. Along with fogging, I put negative agreement, because fogging's negative agreement. It's not true, but you don't care to spend the time with this person because they're not important to you, or the situation isn't important to you. Negative agreement is, if it's true, agree. If you see it as true. My favorite example is me as a young adult. I was a terrible cook, and I'm still hearing stories from my longtime friends who yuck it up about what a terrible cook I was. And I remember the day that I said to myself and the world, yes, I'm a terrible cook. I would then say it all the time. It was so freeing. So if somebody came over for dinner, either it was edible and you could see great relief around the table, or we'd go out. So it's not the end of the world that I'm not a good cook. And if you've blown it, negative agreement. Waiting period. You can tell somebody if it's something that's annoying and that you don't want to deal with, you can say, well, I may get back to you on that, and then don't get back to them. Redirect them. In mental health, residential homes, if somebody, we had a lot of training around how to de-escalate situations and not let them grow up to be a situation at all. If somebody were coming at me and it looked like they were really angry, I would meet them and I would go beside them, put my arm around them and say, let's go for coffee. I would redirect them. That was very effective, and I've used it and I've had people use it on me. Change something. In the wonderful book, The Dance of Anger, the author says, if you have repetitive, dysfunctional interactions with someone, when it starts again, change your reaction. Say something totally different. Do something totally different. And it throws everything, the whole mechanism is thrown off tracks, and you'll have to see what evolves from whatever new thing that you did. But it works. It's a good measure. Address the emotion and not the content. This is, if somebody is ranting and raving, you can say, and about some issue, you can say to them, you really sound angry. And that takes it away. You're taking charge when you do this. Just be aware that you're taking charge of the whole process when you do this. And then it's like, yes, I'm angry, blah, blah, blah. But you are then, what you're looking at is that person's anger instead of the issue. So obviously this is not good for, let's say your spouse comes to you and says something, some kind of issue, and you say to them, you sound angry. Well, you're taking away the issue and putting their emotions instead. So that it's manipulative. But sometimes it can be good and sometimes it isn't. If they are manipulative, by the way, call them on their manipulation. Oh, I see you're giving me grief again. Oh, I see that you're trying to use opposite psychology or negative, whatever it's called, psychology on me. Call them on their manipulation. My son and I lived with a nice woman, older woman, and she was very manipulative of her adult children and everybody else. And one day the youngest daughter came over, and my friend said something to her that was trying to get grief from her, trying to make her apologize and change her mind about something. And she just sighed and looked up and said, "Oh, grief, grief, grief." She just called her mother on it, and everyone laughed, even the mother. We all knew it was true, and that just put a stop to it in the most beautiful way. That time, you always had to be on guard with her. Confrontation. There will be times that you have had enough. There are times that you have to set limits, that you have to define your boundaries, you have to maintain your integrity. So a bop on the nose of the shark. It can be very low leveled. It can be ouch. I've used that, and that does the trick. It can be that's hurtful. Did you mean it to be hurtful? I don't accept being talked to that way. And you could stop the action. I worked with a young man who was really tall and big and had red hair, and we were together in a group home working, and if a resident would come up to him and harass him about something, he would say, "Stop, I don't want to have this conversation today," and he'd turn and walk away. And I thought, that is so cool. I wish I could do that. I think it's a little harder for a short woman, older woman, than a big young man, but I should try it sometime. Agree to disagree, and then don't revisit it. Just agree to disagree and then don't revisit it. This is especially good where you've got a conflict of values, because that's hard. Conflict of values is hard. You don't know what to do with it. You simply have to avoid it, dance around it. And we've got friends that we have this with, and it's okay. They're worth it. They're worth it. So that's a good way. And finally, terminate or scale down your friendship, your relationship with that person. I've had to do that. And one of my friends, her mother was critical of her entire life, and still to this day. So she can't rule her mother out of her life, but what she can do, they have a lot of family functions, and that's where she sees her mother, and she gets her siblings back up. I want to read you something Reese Witherspoon said. "Life is too short to spend my time with anyone who doesn't appreciate me, treat me with respect, or bring value to the relationship." I like that. Thank you, Reese. Okay, see you next time. Thank you.